Well, hello there, all you Biconics wrestling nerds out there. And we are live in stereo once again for another edition of the Raw Squad Reviews, your weekly WWE Monday Night Raw reviews. I am your host, Mikey, and joined with me this week, surprisingly, I haven't seen him in a little bit, is my co host, Minnie, aka Evan.
Hi
Sir,
guys.
what
No,
did you do with the Lucha Don't? What happened to Lucha Don't?
he kept me in his basement. I couldn't come
Oh,
out. I was kind of locked in his basement, so I wasn't allowed to come out. And yeah, I was able to get out because he thought I escaped. So when he was out looking for me, I escaped. So yeah, we're here.
Remind me I have to have a talk with the Lucha Don't. He's not allowed to lock people in his basement.
And I think I deserve it a little bit.
Maybe. We shall see. But as I mentioned before, we are here once again to review another episode of Monday Night Raw. Very straightforward episode, so we're going to keep it straightforward tonight as well. Of course, I'm so happy I was like, Raw starts with not the Judgment Day.
No, the beginning part was like interrupted by a promo by Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, so let's just go into that. So
it was different. I've never seen how this is a new way to start Raw. And I wasn't even mad that it didn't start with the match, started with another promo, but it started like it was abrupt and it was like, hey, by the way, screw this. But he did the exact thing. I mean, I can go back and watch it. I said because of the way Drew lost, he's going to bitch about it next week. And look, what did he do?
he bitched about it, but you know what? This segment took about the first 15 minutes, and this was probably awesome as well. So let's just talk about it quickly. Drew McIntyre's in the ring. He's complaining about losing to Seth last week and everything that happened. And he's in the middle of this, and who should interrupt him but one CM Punk interrupts and comes on down, and basically these two have a back and forth that will forever live rent-free in my head, but holy crap, they tore each other apart.
It was so good. CM Punk has always been known to be really good on the mic, and then here comes Drew McIntyre swinging for the fences.
Oh, it was so beautiful. But essentially what this set up is that both of them have to... Well, Punk has already declared himself for the Rumble. Drew declares himself for the Rumble. Man, CM Punk's line as he finishes this promo is just like, from one leader to another, I need to set an example. I need to lead by example. So I'll make sure to throw you out last. I'm like, oh, damn. Those two are going to kill each other. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be good. And unfortunately, Punk's first match back was at a house show at Madison Square Garden, but it's still going to be dope. I'm excited to see what the Rumble's going to look like. It's really hard to pick I think we want to say CM Punk is winning, but is he?
There's a case to be made for certain individuals too. Like, I could definitely see Drew winning it. I can make an argument if Gunther is in the Rumble, like he probably is also a candidate to win it too. Like, who knows?
Cody can win too.
I mean, it's gonna be very interesting. And especially since news broke out, even though this is not Raw news, this is still WWE news, that they changed the finish of what happened on SmackDown last minute because they, now that it's a fatal four-way, because Randy Orton was originally supposed to be the winner of that match, but the higher-ups were like, we don't want Randy to get pinned so early. I'm like, well, I guess you have a fatal four. Go check out the SmackDown review. Me and Professor talked all about how we felt about the ending to the main event.
See, I wasn't there because I was stuck in the basement by the Lucha Bell.
I know. Hopefully, he won't put you back in the basement because we would love to have you for the following week. But again, Drew and CM Punk exchanging words was a thing of glory. It was the first 15 minutes of the show, and I loved every single minute of it. And then it just led into another thing I love. We get Finn Balor versus Tomaso Champa all of a sudden. I was like, Papa H is just booking matches just because he can now. I'm like, gimme.
Match I didn't know I wanted to see until I saw it.
Listen, anytime Finn and Tomaso get to wrestle, I'm always for it. But against each other, I'm like, yes, this is everything I wanted.
Oh, so good. And it ended surprisingly with the Tomaso Champa win. I thought Finn was gonna win.
You know, normally I have an issue when you have like semi-quasi, like, especially since they're tag team champs. I usually have an issue with champions getting pinned and losing matches, especially non-title matches. But with how dominant Judgment Day has been over the course of 2023, they're bound to lose here and there. And I think everything going on with R-Truth has kind of added an extra dimension with them, which we'll talk about that segment. Holy crap.
Judgment Truth.
Judgment Truth is so good. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised is the best way to put it, that Tomaso Ciampa picked up a victory here. So hopefully that means that with a few more victories, we will see DIY versus Judgment Day, which is a match I want to see so bad.
I hoping that match is what they use to split up the belts.
I hope so.
Like have Tomaso Ciampa and
Johnny
Gargano pick up the SmackDown belts and then ship them off to SmackDown and then split the belts.
Honestly, I would be okay with DIY on SmackDown because their men's tag team division can definitely use it.
Right.
But yeah, shenanigans happened. Tag team wrestling was a thing. Tomaso Ciampa win, and I am here for it. And then it just kept going on because then we head backstage for a quick Becky Lynch promo. She is disappointed that she lost to Nia Jax clean, but she ain't gonna let that stop her, and she is going to win the Royal Rumble. So at this point of the show, I was like, okay, so we got to be setting up one of these women's titles is being defended at Royal Rumble, and I was like, okay, maybe we'll get the world heavyweight women's title. So Rhea is going to defend it against Nia Jax.
Yeah, you know, I like Papa H because we're actually starting to get matches set up for the pay-per-view 3-4 weeks in advance, not the week before we're getting the matches.
Seriously. And okay, let me put it in perspective because I was like, oh yeah, we still got time until the Rumble. Definitely looked at the calendar, heard Michael Cole. I'm like, holy crap, we have 2 weeks until Rumble. It's 2 weeks until the Rumble. I'm not ready. Rumble's gonna come, and then before we know it, it'll be a couple more weeks, and then Elimination Chamber will be here.
And then a couple weeks after that was WrestleMania.
Seriously. But again, I agree with you. Triple H is actually booking matches way ahead in advance, even if it's like 3 weeks before. I'm like, at least it's not the go home show where we get all the matches all at once.
Right.
So after this, I'm gonna be honest, just from a storytelling perspective, this next match was so surprisingly good. And surprisingly, I gotta shout out Lwig Kaiser because the man's made it look brutal. So Kofi Kingston, Lwig Kaiser, they had a match and ended a double countout. The important thing here, talk about what happened after the match.
Lwig Kaiser, I think he legitimately kicked Kofi's head when he put him on the stove. So they get into a fight. Jason Jordan and Joey Mercury, I think it's Joey Mercury.
Yeah.
Came out with a bunch of wrestlers trying to separate them. It gets to the point where Lwig gets Kofi on the steel steps and he's draped over them. He fakes out the people, runs around and drop kicks Kofi's head against the steel steps. And then he goes, it's all Kofi's fault. This is the Lwig Kaiser we needed weeks ago.
Right? And we'll talk about that scathing backstage promo he gave. It was so good, but
God.
I was just like, I don't know if this was the plan change because of what happened last week, but oh my goodness.
You know, we had this discussion a few weeks ago in the group chat about how they don't like was it Andrew or was it Lewis talking about how they don't like when people just excessively chop each other.
That was a fun conversation.
Kofi and Lwig were slapping the ever shit out of each other. Like, oh my lord, Ludwig's chest was so red.
It was crazy, and I'm just like, I'm here for all of this. This is what I want. This is the Lwig Kaiser that I was like, okay. I know Imperium is a faction that can be ruthless, but man, this proved it tonight.
They should have been doing this since the beginning. Imagine like if we had Vinci doing this shit too, with his strength. Oh my god, putting people through tables and everything.
Again, and this leads into the backstage interview where Lwig is yelling, is like, this is Kofi's fault. he took Vinci's head, so I took his. I was like,
you know what's this is going to lead up into? Because I saw this on Twitter. Xavier Woods retweeted the interview. It says, "Oh, you've done fucked up."
Xavier Woods is coming back down, and he's about to whoop a ass.
No, I think he's going to get his head kicked in too.
Probably.
They got to keep this momentum going for Ludwig Kaiser.
Then I'm wondering who.
Ooh, fantasy booking. Ludwig is that's who beats Gunther for the IC belt. He turns on him.
Ooh, you know what? I wouldn't hate that.
Maybe Gunther comes back and is still not happy with what Ludwig has been doing, like him going this on a tear, destroying everybody. Still not good enough for on Gunther, so he turns on him, and he's who beats Gunther for the IC belt.
Again, I am all here for this, but now I want to see more of Lwig, and that is a sentence I never thought I would say.
Dude, he's way more talented than people give credit for.
Seriously. Then, from here, Nia Jax and Michael Cole is in the ring. He calls down Nia Jax. Nia Jax comes down. She cuts a promo, and then she is interrupted by Monday Night Mommy.
You know, I agree with my Lucha Dome friend here. I you know, she came out. I still skipped this entire promo. I can't stand the way Nia Jax gets promos. I'm like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because she allows you to hate her so much to the point where I have to skip her promos. So good job, Nia Jax, then, I guess.
The delivery of her promos is always something I've never been a fan of, and I thought, you know, she would work on it, but she's still delivering it in that same style of the, you know, I told you so kind of attitude. I'm like,
right.
Girl.
Fuck this. I skipped it.
So, the funny thing is that Rhea and Nia are both technically heels, but of course, because it's Rhea Ripley, the crowd is full on cheering. I was like, just make her a quasi face on her. Like Triple H, make her a face.
The thing is, you can't turn Judgment Day face because everyone's still gonna boo Dominic.
That is very, very fair. But, you know, I thought this was gonna set up a match between the two of them at Royal Rumble, but no, Nia declares herself for the Rumble. I'm like, oh, okay, so this title's not getting defended. And then I look over at SmackDown, I'm like, oh God, I think I know which is getting defended. It's gonna be Bianca versus Io again, isn't it?
Probably. And then Io's gonna I think Io's gonna hold it to Mania.
Well, actually, no. I take that back because Bianca declared herself for the Rumble on SmackDown too. I don't know what's happening anymore. Like, it seems that none of the women's titles is being defended.
No, we still could do something.
We could. And honestly, Royal Rumble, I feel like, is a pay-per-view where if the women's titles don't get defended, it makes sense. Only if your champions are in the Rumble.
We could get Io versus Shotzi.
I mean, I'd be here for that, but then Shotzi wouldn't be in the Rumble. But you know what? We'll see. We still got 2 weeks.
We've seen it before. We've seen people be in the match for a belt, lose, and then go into the Rumble.
Yeah, because Becky did that. She wrestled a match, and then she was in the Rumble later.
Right, that happens all the time. I see it all the time. So that's probably not an issue. Like, we might get Io versus Shotzi, or we might get Rhea versus Ivy Nile again.
I mean, I would love more Ivy Nile. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Those are possible matches.
My fantasy booking, I want to see Rhea take an RKO in the men's Rumble. She just comes out.
Oh, like Nia Jax did a couple years ago?
Yeah.
She took Rhea Ripley kicked the 619 in the RKO.
Yeah, but instead Rhea Ripley actually destroys some of the dudes and throws them over.
Like Akira Tozawa. I love Akira. Like, he takes all the bumps. He takes all those crazy bumps.
Yeah, and then I just want Randy Orton to just like, well, no, who knows? Randy's not going to be in the Rumble now because, you know, I just want to see Rhea throw dudes and then everyone throw Rhea out. That'd be a fun spot.
That would be a fun spot. Dominic accidentally knocks her over the top rope.
Drama. I'm here for it.
Scandal.
Then we got a quick recap of what everyone was talking about last week, The Rock returning. So, which, you know, come to find out, and we talked about this a little bit, The Rock went over like 15 whole minutes. Therefore, that's why Natty and Tegan's match against, you know, that tag team women's match got cut
Zoe
for time.
Stark.
Yeah, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, because The Rock went over like 15 whole minutes.
You know what? It's The Rock.
I guess it is The Rock, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, you guys.
It
Like,
sucks that her women's tag team, which is the division that needs all the help it can get, because it's always been a struggle. I mean, right now though, I'm happy they're finally starting to push women's tag teams. They're forming tag teams and they're doing something with the women that you normally don't see in singles matches anymore. Thank God Papa H is doing something with it, especially by giving the belts to Katana Chance and Kim Carter, who have my two favorite finishers in WWE right now. But still, sucked that it hurt down, but it's The Rock.
very, very fair. And then from here, Cody tries to give an interview, which then he is attacked by Shinsuke, which then we get confirmation that their match is now a street fight all of a sudden. I was just like, okay.
I hated that. I didn't like that.
I was like, we could. Yeah, I was just like, I feel like
a normal match, because like we talked about last week, you keep it a normal match. You have Shinsuke win by disqualification by making Cody go too far, and then
you can have a blow-off match, then do the street fight.
Right, and then you have this match happen on Rumble, and that can be why Cody doesn't win the Rumble, because he's too tired from the match against Shinsuke, and then it forces him to win an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, it is a bummer, because I was like, I feel like this feud doesn't warrant a street fight quite yet, because,
it makes Shinsuke look weak by losing again.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it when we get to the main event. But from here, we have the only title defense tonight for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven went over Adam Pearce's head and got permission from Nick Aldis for some reason, even though they're on different brands, to get a rematch with Kaden Carter and Katana Chanson. Chelsea Green is so so underrated, sorry. Like, I feel like she doesn't get enough credit. And Piper Niven too. Like, these two were comedic gold in this match.
I hear she hits a Rough Rider, and then they started calling Piper Niven's move the Vader Bomb. Beautiful. They bringing back the Vader Bomb. Yes. And she hits Mrs. Matt Cardona hits Matt Cardona's move, the Rough Rider, and they call it the Rough Rider. Amazing.
So, we talked a little bit about this off camera, but let's take a moment. Commentary was on point this whole entire episode.
Oh my God, they did so well, and they were allowed to be themselves. They were laughing, they were having a good time, which is something you expect from commentators, not these robotic figures that never break character. They were laughing, they were having a good time. It must have felt good not having Big Papa Vince screaming in their ear that a move is no longer called the Rough Rider anymore, or something like that.
So, of course, some of the highlights of this match do include, Chelsea is helping Piper up the top turnbuckle to do the, the move, the Vader Bomb, and then Katana pulls her tag team partner out, and then Piper squashes Chelsea in the process.
And then they have two of the best looking finishers, Chance and Carter, with the after party and the keg stand. They're probably two of my favorite finishers in WWE.
Dude,
right now, which is so cool looking.
That cake stand is so unique, and I was like, well, Chelsea's kind of a little far. How are we gonna do this? And that core strength, though, girl, the core strength, and
so good.
Woo! But man, Kaden and Katana retain here, and you know what? We also saw 4 women's tag teams watching this. I was like, ooh, we got 4 women's tag teams, so this is gonna be fun.
Natalie and Tegan Knox, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe
Stark.
Hartwell and who was her partner?
Candice LeRae.
And then who was the other one? I think it was just those 3.
Actually, you're right. It was just those 3, but we got more tag team.
When I'm not sure if you saw this, when they won, Indy Hartwell started doing the dance. She started dancing with the music.
Yeah. I love Indy Hartwell so much.
And it was cool watching her win at Survivor at
Stand and Deliver
last year.
It was such a good moment. Speaking of good moments, oh my gosh, this moment broke me and I was crying of laughter. R-Truth and this video package.
Since I was born, I told my doctor when I was a baby that I would be part of Judgment Day.
Holy crap! I never knew how much I miss R-Truth until we got him back a couple weeks ago, and then everything he does is just gold.
Awesome. The crazy thing, he's still wrestling at the level he's wrestling at. He's 51 years old.
he can still go. As we saw last week, he still has the comedic chops. Like, listen, if this man does not get inducted into the Hall of Fame whenever, he decides to call it quits, I was like, travesty.
Dude, he's strong killing. R-Truth, amazing. That bit was so funny. They cut to the Judgment Day in the locker room, and you could tell he was laughing at it, but then they had to be serious, except for Damian Priest.
Damian Priest was laughing so hard.
How many times? I'm not sure. How many times did Damian Priest say "thick" in his? He said this so many times. That little 2-minute segment.
Because he was trying to collect himself. He's just try not to break character. And then when Finn Balor gets aggressive about it because he's upset with what, R-Truth did, Rhea Ripley started breaking character a tiny bit. But then they turned that momentum back into their favor because then they got serious about it. So ultimately, this backstage stuff with the Judgment Day led to JD's listen, I'm going to take care of R-Truth, Dominic, let's go. And then Damian was chastising Rhea too. It's you're going to make an enemy out of Nia Jax? Really?
Because he was giving him crap for making an enemy out of DIY.
DIY, yeah.
But DIY is nothing. Nia Jax isn't.
I love how Judgment Day, because now they're letting their pride and they're letting their ego get to them. They're starting to make enemies amongst the roster, and now you're picking fights with people that have the skills to back it up and fight back.
Right. It's gonna be. I think we're starting to see the fall of the Judgment Day.
I think that is definitely going to be a thing heading into the first half of this year. I think Judgment Day dissension is going to continue. And we kind of saw that a little bit with Miz versus JT.
This is one of the few times where Miz was involved in the match and had nothing to do with it.
Right?
Everything that was going on was happening around the match, and Miz was I'm just going to wrestle.
Seriously, the shenanigans was because of R-Truth and everything that was going on between him and Dominic and JD, and Miz is oh, okay, well, I'm still here, so
I'm gonna kick your ass. And he did. Miz, he gets better and better every single week as he's in the ring.
I'm so happy to see that Miz is finally picking up some wins after the big losing streak he has had in 2023.
Glad to see it. I personally do wish that JD McDonough starts picking up some wins and trying to build him up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He looks so the weakest link in
Judgment Day.
JD McDonough, where we know he's so much better as a wrestler.
We saw it in the Fatal 5-Way at Stand and Deliver when he was in that North American Fatal 5-Way.
So good. He didn't do much because he was the heel of the match.
Yeah.
So he got his ass kicked, but when he was wrestling, he was wrestling.
But I agree. I hope JD starts picking up some wins, and but he continues to lose, so we shall see.
Good R-Truth shenanigans,
which I love. So I have to say, everything up to this point in Raw was you know what? This is a solid episode of Raw. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And then the last 45 minutes, I was this was a roller coaster. So first, we start off with Seth Rollins. He comes down to the ring. He cuts his promo. And then Jinder interrupts.
Jinder Mahal. To make it short, I think to make a long story short is it looks like Jinder Mahal's going to get shot at the belt.
Well, we got confirmation that there is a championship match next week. I was just why? I mean, I get because we're trying to keep Seth busy, but what?
Jinder. That's who we could use.
Listen, yeah. Listen, I don't have anything personally against Jinder.
I don't either, but he hasn't done anything in 2 years.
That's the biggest thing that concerns me, and I'm what is happening? Because I feel that if you were going to make this a glorified squash match, there are other people you could have picked where I would have been entertained and I would have been okay with it.
I would rather see Akira Tozawa get the championship shot.
Honestly, that's where my mind was immediately going. Or if you're not gonna do that, let's have somewhat of a decently fun match. I don't know, Seth. Well, I don't know. We don't want to kill Seth, but Ivar versus Seth, I feel would have been fun.
Or, Carmelo Hayes.
You call NXT kids up, be hey, so do any of the NXT kids want to come? Literally, because Seth went down to NXT during the summer during Gold Rush, and he defended the championship against Braun Breaker.
Right, so you can do stuff against Carmelo Hayes or Chip Woods. because Tomaso was ready to come up. He had that great match, the 2 great matches for the United States Championship tournament.
Exactly.
Like, have him up for the match, because I think Tomaso, a match between Hayes and Wallace is phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited about that. So before we get into the next match, so we also find out that it seems like we're teasing Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed in a feud. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm here for it.
I am too.
We got to figure out a way to keep Jay busy, because ultimately, if the rumors are true, him versus Jimmy at WrestleMania is supposed to happen this year.
Yeah, we're gonna get the new Yeet year.
New Yeet year.
Yeah, he said that. You know what? I'm okay with this. He's full sending this Yeet thing, and I'm all right with it.
Right. So now, let's get into the big man slapping meat match. Holy crap. Ivar versus Otis.
Why is Otis... Not Otis. Why is Ivar doing springboard crossbodies? He's 330 pounds. He's hitting springboard crossbodies for Otis to catch him and slam him. This is not a big man doing big meat slapping things. This was 2 luchadors doing flips and shit.
I knew I like Otis, I like Ivar, but man, this was magic.
Oh my god, they did. That was insane. It ended with a moonsault.
Ivar keeps picking up wins, man. I don't know.
You saw the worm? The caterpillar? That was dope. I haven't seen the caterpillar in forever. Match of the night.
Oh, hands down, this was entertaining. I love my big man slapping meat matches, and this was amazing. This was so good. And hopefully we see Ivar start to make his way towards, I don't know, something, because he's picking up wins.
Can we fantasy book Keith Lee versus Bronson Reed versus Otis versus Ivar?
Just all the big men.
But the big men that can do flips and shit?
Put that on the grill, let's go.
That match would be a banger. Sorry, I was just like, the match is just so good.
I agree. Ivar versus Otis was my match of the night, because it made me and you, who are relatively big boys, so to speak, proud. I love the big boys. Okay, so now we come to our main event, and
okay, the match was good. The match was alright.
Yes, I totally agree with that, but
it's still best match ever because they went through 2 tables.
Yes.
But Cody shouldn't have won.
Yeah, I'm just like, I really enjoyed the build-up that we had between Shinsuke and Cody, but it seems like this is one and done now. I was like, oh, okay, so we're not...
It should have been a standard, normal match. And
have Shinsuke poke the air, so to speak.
Yeah, because if we've seen Cody lose this step before, use weapons in matches he shouldn't use weapons in, make him do that in this match. So it still builds Shinsuke as like the super master manipulator of people. And then they can push this match for Rumble and have a match at Rumble, which, like we said earlier, it's going to force Cody not to win at Rumble because he's too tired to do this match with Shinsuke. CM Punk or whoever wins it, and then it forces Cody to have to win an Elimination Chamber before he gets his match with Roman at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think Cody really needed to win this one. And not to say that Shinsuke needed to win, but I think because Shinsuke's been on the losing streak the last few big matches he had, he lost to Seth at Payback, he lost to Seth at Fastlane, and he lost to Cody here, and it seems that, well, this was just a one and done feud, which sucked because I wanted more of this feud, if I'm being honest.
Right. Or if you really want to start pushing Shinsuke to be good, have him go after Gunther.
Yeah, let's start getting Shinsuke some wins here, because, like, no shade to Ricochet, but wins against Ricochet to me don't really mean a whole lot.
Right, because Ricochet hasn't really done that much since his match against Logan Paul.
Yeah, and that match was okay at best at SummerSlam too. I was just like, ugh.
Right.
But, well, Minnie, my friend, we've come to the end, so now we just gotta do our final ratings. Out of 10 minis, what do we give this week's episode of Monday Night Raw?
Overall, I still give this a 9. It was still a very good Raw. One of the better Raws we've had in a while. It even beats last week's Raw, which is still a really good Raw. I think there's like the booking decisions were questionable. That was about it. Like me skipping the Nia Jax moments because I don't like Nia Jax. That's a good thing. She's doing her job. So I give us a 9.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I really enjoyed this Raw, and if I'm being completely honest, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I sat through and watched all 3 New Year's special between Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. Raw ended up being the best, and last night's Raw was so good too. I also give it a 9 out of 10. Well, we did it. We actually kept it brief. We turned a 3-hour show into half an hour review, which I'm all here for.
An hour, 14 minutes. We got this.